those Monday night live streams, Flying Casual on the RebelsCon Podcast Network and Digital Charcuterie. Just past 8 p.m. on the hour. We're going to do the radio thing where we say the time every 15 minutes. We'll let you all know what time it is. Hey, everyone, this is Flying Casual. I'm James, and joining me today are, to my left up top, is Sunathron.
I'm Sunathron. Welcome. How are y'all? Y'all doing okay?
Hopefully everyone's good. And to my right is executive producer. She needs no introduction. Heidi Fetter's here. Heidi.
Hello.
Hello, all.
We got Ron and Dale in the chat. Ron
Desi,
is
Ron, Dale, hi.
Oh, Desi's here. You guys are. My chat is way behind on that.
Oh, Desi?
Yeah.
Desi's here. Bright Suns.
Desi's my homegirl.
Hi, Desi.
Desi is a huge fan of REY SKYWALKER.
Yes.
And mostly the Rise of Skywalker. She is. There's no bigger fan.
She liked the ending.
Yeah, that's not true, but
She liked that one scene in the end, and then she just shuts it off.
yeah.
You know what? Speaking of the Rise of Skywalker, Anthony Daniels said it was his favorite one.
Real out of all 9 films?
I mean, I think, yeah, and people are questioning it, and I don't really know, but we weren't there when he made any of those movies.
Sure.
So, maybe by 9 he was actually fitting. Desi's logging off now. Maybe by 9 though, he's like comfortable in the suit. They made it better for him, and it seemed like he had a really good time with like Oscar Isaac, I believe he said, who just turned 46 years old. Happy birthday, Oscar Isaac! Huge fan of the show.
Yeah, the guy said, yeah, but actually, because C-3PO, I would have to say, episode 9 was that was the one he was like most. I thought that was that was the one he was kind of the biggest star in.
Yeah, he had a good plot, but a lazy plot, I would say. Like they had an opportunity to do so much more with him, and they did a lot with him, like you're saying. But I felt like
I thought he had a lot more kind of funny quips.
Yes,
than he had ever in any other film, so I could see that.
Yeah, Barbara Frick was the best friend. But that was the only one where Carrie Fisher had the top billing.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Was that out of respect because she passed?
Yeah. Well, that was supposed to be her film.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like for was it for the Duel of the Fates, right? Wasn't she gonna be? It was gonna be her main one.
Do you guys think that like hindsight being 2020 and everything, but we're talking, this is the point, and chat, let us know your thoughts as well. Do you think, looking back on, don't worry about the movie as a whole, just think about Princess Leia, General Leia's role in Rise of Skywalker, and what it became after Carrie Fisher's passing. Do you think the right decision was made for the character, for the actress, for the legacy in Rise of Skywalker?
I mean, she had to be there, I think, but I don't know if the technology caught up to it. But I understand the reason for her being there. I mean, maybe if I didn't know she was dead, I wouldn't have noticed it. But I thought it was pretty obvious. However, I think one of the reasons Harrison Ford came back for 2 reasons. One was because Carrie Fisher had passed, and 2, because he liked working with Adam Driver. So the only thing I was confused about is why Rey was calling her master, because she wasn't a master. She wasn't even a Jedi. She quit right before becoming a Jedi. Although in my head canon, she became a Jedi at the end and dealt with Anakin before she passed.
And headcanon aside, she was never even trained until we didn't even know she trained, right? Until over halfway in that movie. Like, it was late in that movie when we find out. Like, if you think it, I'm just everything aside, just if you watch the 9 movies, she's not, you don't even know she deals with any of that until very later on in that movie.
Well, yeah. No, you didn't know about the training. You did see, in episode 8, it's the Goofy, her flying, which was a little weird when I saw it, but actually it's kind of cool because you knew, so that showed whether she had that much training or not, which I don't think she ever really did have a lot, because Luke, I think, only trained her, we found out later, about a year. But it showed that, for subconsciously just it came to her of what she had to do to survive to use the Force, and that was really strong what she did. And we don't see people fly through space very often with the Force. I mean, you can't think of that a whole lot of the times we've seen that, and so I think that just showed that was cool to see her, how potential she could have been, and now the Master thing. I think that's just because Rey. She was the only person that taught her really anything much about the Force. I mean, Luke was gone, and he didn't visit her much, and so I think that's the only. What else could she have called her? Because she's the only person that trained her anything on the Force other than the books and stuff. So
I
don't
think
really have a problem with that,
controversially, I feel like it was just they were paying respect to Carrie Fisher, and they're like, we'll just call her a master. That's how. Like, I mean, plot movie wise, real world, like it just. I think that's what it was. I think they tried their best to respect. I think they were in a very tough position, and I don't think recasting was ever. I don't think they considered it, and I don't think they could have got away with it. I think a lot of people now are like they should have recast. It's easier said than done. I don't think they would have got away with it then.
I mean, they could have done the old, oh no, I scorched my face. No, we had to do surgery now. Like completely different. That's what they do on soap operas. So.
Yeah, I mean the recasting is I don't think it's ever ideal, but it's sometimes when with Princess Leia that just would have been to stay with the story. Yeah, I can't disagree that maybe it would have been better because they would have been able to have more footage and stuff. But I just think with being Carrie Fisher's last one, he just probably and plus he took over. He only had he didn't have the usual 3 or 4 years. What he had 2 years, didn't he?
Yeah, which is another problem altogether.
And he had to redo a whole lot of stuff, and so because I mean he would have had to find I don't have a problem with recasting Baylan Skoll. He's because I think in the story it's needed, and he was awesome, but he's not the icon of Star Wars. So.
I think that's the thing. They're very similar situations, but very different at the same time. Like Baylan Skoll, Ray Stevenson was phenomenal in that role. I think he was the best part of that show. And if anyone disagrees, that's fine. But he was, I think, the best part of that series. And it's going to be tough to fill out those shoes, but it's not. Carrie Fisher played this character for 40 years, filling out the shoes.
Yeah,
it's not. We needed to have the original actors back filling out their shoes. So I think we can see past it. But yeah, they were in a tough spot with that one.
Well, what's interesting, and I don't know how Carrie Fisher's death would have affected this, but apparently George Lucas's original idea was to reveal that Leia, not Luke, was actually the chosen one. I don't know if that could have still happened, or who knows. I mean, maybe if something like that happened, maybe she would still be alive. You don't know how something different like that can affect your life. So.
Yeah, I mean the difference was, if they did the Palpatine thing, then maybe if she was still around, maybe she's the one that actually. But they could have, they didn't even have Force Ghosts at the end. So they could have done that. That's the part. Sometimes I just don't understand. Sometimes Disney's real basic stuff like. All we wanted to see was the Force Ghost, not just the voices. It would have been real simple, but they didn't do it.
Do you know how movie theaters, like whatever you thought of that movie up until that point, maybe even after that point, had you seen Hayden Christensen, Samuel L. Jackson, let's say Ashley Eckstein maybe, but Samuel L. Jackson, Hayden Christensen, like people would have exploded in the theater. And I think that movie, if it's the exact same movie and you just add those, I think people remember it more fondly than they do now. And that's just how, because it's at the end too. I think people would have been blown away by it. They would have loved it. But instead it was the voices.
I agree. And there's on YouTube a guy that just dubbed it in, just like what everyone was looking for. And it's awesome. And it was just another second, all you got to do is then they kind of shoot. They're there. They don't have to be the one actually to it. Then they send their power to Rey, and I think everyone would be awesome. Just to see them all there, I just don't understand. That seems like a real basic thing they could have done.
I mean, this might be a rumor, but I heard the reason they didn't. It was either do that or do the flying stormtroopers. They only had room for one of them, so they decided to go with the flying stormtroopers.
What? That can't be true. They fly.
They fly now.
Yeah. Supposedly, I don't know. I remember reading that somewhere.
Yeah, we didn't really need to.
But if you bring up a point of Desi made, I mean, yeah, Ahsoka, they didn't cast
Yeah.
what's yet, but I like to think that since that's not the same voice and that's not Ahsoka who's dead, so
Ahsoka's never gonna die. As long as Dave Filoni is around, Ahsoka, it's gonna
We
continue
don't
to
know.
thrive.
Yeah, because
But
that's the 30 years from what that was
Yeah,
like 30
20
years from
yeah.
from Empire. I mean Return. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, season 2 is coming. Apparently, there's an Ahsoka panel at Celebration. Is anyone between you guys and in the chat going to Celebration this year? Anyone hitting Japan for Celebration?
Is it like isn't it just pretty soon, like next month or 2 months or something?
It's Easter weekend. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Easter long way. The Celebration seems to love Easter weekend.
Really? Yeah. And
Oh.
Easter's
April.
really late this year. Like
It's
20,
late, yeah.
it's really
April
late. No,
20th.
that's
Well, 2020 was supposed to be in July, but then of course that got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. I just keep they've never done any close to Dallas. So I mean, if they ever do it close, and I can drive maybe, but I don't know that although Japan,
I mean, Japan's on my bucket list, but I'm not going. So
the money is just.
Yeah.
I used to have Japan traveling money. I don't really have that.
Let's go. Ron wants us to change topic, and we do what
All
Ron
right.
says here. This is the Ron
Okay.
Scum podcast.
Let's start Ron.
To segue to the Rey movie, Disney mistakenly thought their new characters would just take over. And I think this is a good topic for us to discuss right now before we get to our topic of the Rey movie and Kathleen Kennedy and Rey, because I think he has a point here. And I still think that Disney believes that Rey is the future of Star Wars. And I might tick off Ron right now when I say this, but I don't necessarily think they are wrong. But I don't think Rey today is where they pictured Rey 10 years ago when she was introduced. I think Rey 8 years ago is where they thought Rey would be, but she's slowly been on the decline. And I think the reception to obviously the Last Jedi, but then of course the Rise of Skywalker, and then they just kind of Star Wars kind of forgot about Rey in the last 5 years. We haven't seen Rey, done anything with Rey. A couple Lego things here and there with Rey, but that's not enough to keep people caring about Rey. And remember after The Force Awakens, every Halloween costume was Rey and Kylo Ren. Little girls were Rey, little boys were Kylo Ren. Every single one of them. Mm-hmm. And that's dwindled. Like I don't even think I saw a Rey this year. I don't think I saw many Star Wars either this year.
No.
But yeah, so Heidi, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Ron's comments about Rey?
I mean, part of the problem was I think we never got the answers to what we were looking for. It just went from right after the Battle of Yavin to years later, 20 some odd years later, 30 some odd years later, and they're just throwing these characters at us. We have no idea who they really are. I mean, we have some idea, and I think that's part of the problem, because I don't think we got a satisfying ending with the other characters. And I think the whole Snoke thing, that was a debacle, because nobody cared about Snoke, and then apparently, and don't get me wrong, I loved The Last Jedi, but Ryan Johnson definitely didn't care about Snoke because he killed him, and we have no idea who this guy is, how he came to power, or anything. I don't know, it just wasn't very satisfactory, and I think that's why they threw Palpatine in there, and I don't think that was satisfactory. I actually would have preferred Palpatine thrown in there if he was was it in Rebels or Clone Wars, where he was like a robot, like his face was a computer screen. Like the body was a robot and his face was
and Battlefront and
Operation
Cinder
that's Operation Cinder.
Yeah, to me that would have been more believable. So I don't know. I think, like I said, I think the whole thing is the actors were too old for them to have a movie. Maybe you could have had the first one be about the OG cast and then introduce, start out with the three of them and then introduce Rey or Kylo Ren or something. I mean, that opening was impressive, don't get me wrong. So maybe start with that opening, then see, okay, what's Luke doing? What's Leia doing? Then we ease into the other characters so we get to know them. I mean, they were just kind of like thrown at us.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem. And I don't think, and the whole thing, it's just a mess. Like I said, it's like Last Jedi is a separate movie from the trilogy. And I just wish they would have continued. That had been a separate movie, and they would have made like an episode 11 or something, because I feel like the whole thing was just crammed together, and I think that's why we don't have satisfactory answers.
Yeah, I mean, I recently rewatched The Force Awakens. It had been a while, and still go back to, I think Luke should have caught the cyber, but we've already talked about that in the past. But it is interesting to see how, and I don't even think, and this wasn't even a plan that JJ was even going to do Rise of Skywalker. But when you watch Rey fight, she has, like, it's crazy. Way back, she actually has the Palpatine, the way she lunges with that saber. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but she looks like, when she's fighting Kylo, like when the way that Palpatine uses his saber, which was just weird because that was not even a connection when he made that movie.
I was saying that when one of the Force Awakens I think it was a TV commercial or trailer, I was talking to Fantasia about it. This is like 10 years ago now. I was like, oh, she's got dark side in her. She's gonna tap into. I thought she was gonna like be more Anakin, and that you didn't know she was light or dark, and she'd tap into the dark a little. And they never played that card. I remember Fantasia was also like, I hope she's a Palpatine after the Force Awakens, but he was hoping that there would be like a struggle or a relationship there, and instead it was thrown in. It was thrown in. Not a lot of thought put into. Like, why is she like my problem with the sequels? I've said this forever, is the question why wasn't asked a lot when you watch those movies. Like, there wasn't like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? And your point, Heidi, with The Force Awakens is one of those requels, right? Where they remake it, but they don't remake it. It's a sequel, but it's a remake. And it works for some franchises, but it didn't work for Star Wars in the way that I think they also were hoping, because Star Wars is so ingrained in everybody knows Star Wars. And so you're just watching, like you said, everything just kind of gets thrown in, and there's no thought of what happened in the 30 years that we haven't seen these characters. Where have they been? Oh, they're all broken up. Oh, it's like, but again, why? Like, so it's almost like we've talked about this before, where there's this break, this time jump, and we're not clued into what happened during this time jump, and they're just like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And as and Star Wars fans are psychotic, and we're all like, but we are worried about it. Yeah. Tell us. And then they're like, read these books, and you read the books. They're like, did the book tell you anything? No. We're like, we know. We'll tell you later. And I think it feels like we're being strung along. And I think that's why a lot of fans now are hurt. And when it comes to the series, they don't have faith in a lot of the series, like Skeleton Crew or Acolyte. They're like, what's the point of this? Why am I watching these shows? What is the payoff going to be? And I think part of the problem is there doesn't need to be a payoff. They don't all need to connect to everything. But you've also promised us that everything is going to connect and everything's going to be one singular canon. And so I just feel like everything is scattered, and they only have C-3PO to blame.
The best book that for explaining the sequels overall, a couple of years ago, I do the audiobooks, was Secret of the Sith. That was amazing. That explained so much. But again, it's a book that came out 5 years later after the sequels were over. But it completely ties in Luke and the Jedi Hunter guy. What was his name? Whatever that guy. Weird face guy, Bassoon or something. Where's he from? Oshi. Yeah, Oshi. Yeah.
Not OSHA from Acolyte.
But then it's Lando and Luke going on their hunt. There's Lando looking for his daughter. There's Oshi. You see what you learn about Rey's parents. I mean, it is like there is so much of that in that one book that, to me, would have been a tremendous series, even an animated, that would have, kind of like how the Clone Wars. I mean, let's be honest, the Clone Wars made the prequel so much better. But it's just a book that some people like, that a lot of people don't even know. But if it was an animated show on Disney, a lot more people would be, oh, okay. I think it would have really helped the sequels. That book is amazing. Actually.
Totally agree. The sequels need the Clone Wars treatment.
Yeah, it is.
I personally, if you want to do animation, I don't even have a problem with recasting. And if you want, maybe get Hayden Christensen to play a middle-aged Luke, or I don't know if she'd do it, but maybe like Natalie Portman do a middle-aged Leia. Alden Eric, I can never remember his name because it's so weird. Alden Eric, yeah, to do Han Solo. I'm sure Glover wants to. I know Glover wants to do Lando because he's writing a Lando movie right now. So, I mean, if you're afraid of upsetting fans, you really can't do a stories live action of just deep fakes. So, I don't know. I have no problem with recasting them. Maybe you can even start out with some. I said this before. Have Mark Hamill playing Luke and telling the story, and then people picturing in their minds what's happening, and so that's how the characters look different. Or doing
Solo is more well received if it starts off with Harrison Ford thinking back or something.
Yeah,
I think it's like I don't really like that. Like that's not my. I don't like movies. Movies bore me like that. But I think people are more into. They're like, okay, because they made such a big deal about how Harrison Ford approved Alden Ehrenreich as playing young Han Solo. Put him in the movie. Just put Harrison Ford in Solo and be like, hey Chewie, remember when we got the Falcon? And then we just something like that. And I just think there's little things that they could do.
Yeah, and Han could say it was 10. And then Chewie's saying, he says 12. No, it's 10. Whatever. It was 10. And then he explains of how it was 10. It is funny, though. Not if you round down, buddy. But, that's how you start it. And you kind of have a little bit of Harrison, they argue, and then it gets into
Or you end it that way. I think that would have gone a long way with fans. And the movie still probably would have done well. It was between a rock and a hard place. Coming right after The Last Jedi, which really pissed half the fandom off.
Yeah.
And then you're recasting Han Solo, obviously, which is just not going to help those fans out at all. And look, even the people that love Last Jedi, I'll bet you there's a portion of them that are just like, I don't care about young Han Solo. Why do I want to watch young Han Solo?
Have anything to do with the sequels, so.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It has nothing. And then there's another portion of the fandom that might have liked Last Jedi, might have liked Force Awakens, and been like, but he just died. Why do I care about that? You're slowly, instead of bringing people into it, you're slowly taking people out of it. It's like the Black Widow movie, right? Like that didn't do very well. I know they released it right on Disney Plus right away, but she just died. Like what? People weren't rushing out to see it. So I just think there's mismanagement in those.
Yeah, that was weird when they did that because.
Well,
that movie would have made a lot more sense to come out before Endgame,
Well, I know like Harrison Ford, he wouldn't come back for Force Awakens unless he was killed off. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They had to do it, or that was the only way we were gonna get him.
That's why I've always said they should have done an animated between the 6 and 7. And Alden could, even if you just Alden do the voice, I think people can handle the voice even better than. And then you could have Mark, who's an amazing voice actor, do his.
Yeah.
And then either, it depends how long ago you did. You could have had Carrie, or if not, have someone else. And you're not restricted by the age and everything. I just think that I just don't understand it. The Clone Wars really, really helped the prequels, and I just don't know why they haven't done that. Because I know it would help the sequel.
It's because they're too. And we mentioned like months ago with Scotty on the show. We mentioned they're just too reactionary. People don't like the sequels. I'll bet you this REY movie, whether or not it happens, Ron, this REY movie will have very little references to the sequels for several. Like I just feel like they're going to just abandon. Because remember, they didn't want to touch the prequels forever. Nobody likes the prequels. Don't talk about the prequels. And now 15, 20 years later, they're like, talk about the prequels. Everyone loves the prequels. And they react to everything instead of just tell your damn story. Let us just show me what you got. But you have to, the other problem is you have to have a plan. And they just don't seem to want to have that plan, which is what, Desi was saying about how, Ahsoka was a young Ahsoka or not. They never had a plan. They just threw in any voice of any Jedi that existed in any kind of material that they could have got to voice that weekend. and they did it. And I honestly think whatever the future of Star Wars is, and this is the one thing when they announced the Simon Kinberg trilogy that's exciting, is it sounds like he's going to write, whether they're good or not, I don't know, but at least there'll be 3 movie scripts written that will know what's happening while they're doing it. And they're not just going to make it up as it goes along, because that's when they get into all their problems, is when the Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams are oil and water. They just did not work together. And clearly Rian Johnson loved Reylo and all that stuff and hated everything else that J.J. Abrams did in The Force Awakens. And it's like Finn was my favorite character in Force Awakens, and he is terrible in The Last Jedi. But Rey and Kylo are phenomenal in The Last Jedi. Like their connection, that's what really carries that through. And it's just like, but I still think if there was a plan, if they knew how it was going to end, even the people that hated The Last Jedi, I don't think they would have hated it as much, because you would know that it's leading somewhere, and there would have been more connective tissues between Force Awakens and Last Jedi, because they are, Heidi, to your point, they're so disjointed in so many different ways that it's like, what? You're just like, even Luke Skywalker, right? The whole, I say this all the time, but the whole thing with him is you spend 2 years theorizing and talking like he's the best Jedi, and the whole movie they're like, we got to find Luke. Luke's gonna save us. We got to get Luke, and then you spend 2 years with that, and he throws a lightsaber in a comedic moment, and he's like, I'm not gonna help you, which is fine. Like what he's doing is fine. It's just the way it's executed and handled between movies, with the first movie, second movie, not communicating with each other. That's when it falls off the rails for 50% of the fandom.
Yeah. I mean, maybe people have been better off, because I think George Lucas had the same idea about Luke too, about being a hermit who was disenfranchised with the Force and everything. I think if we had seen how that happened, I think people would have accepted it more.
Yeah, there's like 4 seconds of him and Ben in a cave.
Yeah, and then they showed a little bit about the Knights of Ren, and then they're not even, I don't think they're even mentioned in The Last Jedi.
They should have been the Praetorian Guard. I love the Praetorian Guards. I love the design of them. I like them better, but they should have just, like, hindsight again, but they should have just made them the Knights of Ren.
Well, it's like,
and then he kind of did it, but it almost felt forced in Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, it was just, they kind of followed him through and to Exegol, and then they were just there, and then, I mean, it's just, that was, I've always felt like Rise of Skywalker would have been cool if it had been 2 hours and they were say part 2 comes out in April or something, because that movie, to me, you make it a 4-hour movie, it probably is a lot better, because it was so rushed and everything.
Well, you figure out what's going on, Heidi?
I was just gonna say, it was almost like, I know people have said this before, but it's almost like Rian Johnson was like, "Oh, you created these cool characters. Well, I'm going to kill them." Plasma. No, we're not going to use we're going to do these Praetorian Guards. And then I'm going to kill off your favorite character. I'm going to create this new character, Rose. And so it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to have Rose stay at the base and do nothing all day. So.
Oh yeah.
Actually, when Finn's like going to kill himself. So to destroy the laser, the new Death Star laser, and like Rose, like she like crashes into him so he couldn't hit it. I would have had her have a hero's death. Like I would have had her like, no, I'm gonna, and she crashes before he can. That's what I would have done, and especially since she wasn't even used at all.
You know how to say it, but she was like it's almost like Rian Johnson created Rose because he wanted to create his own character. Yeah. She wasn't the greatest character of them all. Yeah. It's like Finn and Poe could have gone on that adventure together. No problem. They had better chemistry. They were better dynamic. But nobody died. And I love Finn, but like, how many fake out deaths does he have? The end of Force Awakens, the moment in Last Jedi, and then Rise of Skywalker. He just keeps having these fake out deaths, and at some point, it's like, just either he's got to die or you got to stop putting him in peril. Just don't worry. It got ridiculous towards the end, and but that's if you've ever read the first Aftermath book, Nora Wexley, who's Snap Wexley's mom, has 700 fake out deaths throughout the book, and I got
I know.
every time at the first I'm like, oh man, they killed her, and then you keep reading, like, oh okay, she's back. Oh, they killed her. Oh, she's back. And I started to just get annoyed, and I stopped caring about the character because
Yeah.
just either kill the character off or don't figure out the death anymore because I've lost interest in it. And they did that with Vin. It's like, although in the end, I love in the end of The Force Awakens, he's breathing. It says something like he's breathing in the background, so you know he's alive. I never thought he was going to die in that movie, but yeah, I think Heidi. I never thought of that, but I think Rose. I think you've said it before, but I think Rose should have died in that. I think it would have been better for the character and for the story. For Finn, it would have been better for Finn as a character to have gone through that.
Yeah, I kind of think it would have been. I think it would be cooler if Admiral Akbar would have been the one that does the sacrifices himself. I mean, Holdo. What was her name? Holdo. She's all right, I guess. But I kind of like but Akbar was such a much of a more known character for everybody, and I don't know. I would rather him do it, but anyway.
But here's the thing: like the one cool thing she did, you read the book, and it totally gets rid of that because in the book I read it. It says she goes on the bridge and she sees that Poe pre-programmed the ship to do that. So the book changes that it's not her idea, that was Poe's idea.
Oh, really?
Why would you ruin the one great thing she did?
I'll tell you why.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I can tell you why right now. It's Disney's reaction to the reaction, because that book came out later and it got delayed, remember? And I'll bet you it was the reaction it got because everyone complained that it was Holdo, and they're like, this is what was it? It was a sexist, or the movie didn't like men or something, and everybody wanted Akbar to do it, and they can't write Akbar doing it, and so like, and everyone was upset with Poe. So like, what if we made it Poe's idea? That's exactly what it was. It was another reactionary movie. Oh, the Chewie fake out was ridiculous, and Rey using Force Lightning without studying was absurd. The Rey Force Lightning doesn't bother me, and I'll tell you why. Because she did play it off random, like, oh, how did that happen? So that was kind of like impulse. So that doesn't bother me. Rey knowing how to do a Jedi mind trick in The Force Awakens is lazy writing, and I agree with that. I will never argue that one. But the lightning didn't bother me. I don't know if it bothered you guys, because I kind of felt like it was.
I think she had enough training. Plus, I mean, we knew that she comes from extremely dark side power. So I don't really have a problem from that. Now, it was quite a fake out, and I have to say, though, the first movie my daughter and I ever saw in the theater for Star Wars was Solo, and Chewie's her favorite character, because she was like, what, when it happened, and I already knew that he was going to come back to life because I'd already seen it once, so I didn't get. So I was like, oh, it's okay, because she was like, and she's like, she's like, no, not Chewie, and then like she was happy. I think, but I probably just don't kill him off, and then all of a sudden so fast. I just say, just don't kill him off, and they rescue him. I think it would have been better to personally.
I mean, it doesn't bother me because Force lightning can come from the dark side of the Force, and let Purity use the dark side of the Force and the light side. I thought they're gonna discover like a whole balance, like she's both dark and light side, and she's gonna have a purple lightsaber. And I guess in Duel of Fate, she was gonna have a purple lightsaber or something. Personally, I wanted to see her with like a double-bladed sword with a red one and a blue one, just to say that she's completely balanced. But they didn't go there either. So I felt Duel like
of Fate, she has a double staff.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying I kind of thought it'd be cool if she had a red and blue.
Oh, red, yeah.
I mean, I think it was gonna be purple in Duel of the Fates.
Yeah. Some of that Duel of the Fates. I mean, there's someone took the whole thing and did a whole animated thing, and it's actually really good. It's really good, actually. I mean, really good for an animated show. I'm not saying it's definitely a better story, but for that story, it's a really good way to watch it. It's not just some $5 fan film. They put a lot of time into it. And the same thing, like I think I sent that to James, the Plagueis animated deal.
Yeah,
there's a guy that Plagueis audiobook is fantastic, and he made a 2-part, really good animated, and it follows that book, and you learn so much about Palpatine and Plagueis. I highly recommend it on YouTube. It's I think it's Everest or something is his name, and it's really good. And I just like, this guy has a budget of $100,000. We're talking like, you know, I mean,
I've never been like interested in them adapting the EU at all. But you have Disney Plus now, and that Plagueis novel, you could totally do something with that. Like they have, because I wouldn't adapt. I don't think I would adapt anything with Luke, Han, and Leia. Maybe like the inconsequential stuff, but like nothing major, obviously. But the Plagueis thing, it's like it's right there. It's staring at you. And I think they're going to be afraid of Plagueis because of the accolade now, because they're reactionary. But
man,
it's like,
I'm just saying, why did they not do this so much earlier? I mean, this guy did it, you know, and
like they have that stuff. I don't understand why you just don't adapt Plagueis as a series or a limited series or a special. Like, you know, I like what Marvel's doing. They're doing it with the Punisher now, which is exciting because I love the Punisher. But they did Guardians of the Galaxy and Werewolf by Night as special presentations. And Star Wars should do a couple of special presentations, like a 50-minute film, Star Wars. That's not a TV show. It's not a movie. Because think of Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan would have been way better as a special presentation, I think.
Yeah.
Like you cut the fat, tighten it up. I think, look, it should have been a movie in the theater. I'm not saying like that's obviously here, but I think it would have worked better as a special presentation that they did that Marvel's doing, and I don't know why they're not allowed to do that, but they should.
I mean, like Lego.
Lego, but canon, like the stuff that connects to it, like
maybe just a two-part, hour and 20 minutes day, and then the next week another hour, and I think they definitely, if they did that, if you just had about 2.5 to 3 hours, you could have definitely done the Obi-Wan, and like if you wanted to make it a special event, 2 or 3 episodes, you didn't need to.
They're kind of doing that with Andor now.
Andor's 12 though, so I mean that's
but it's only
each year. Yeah, I think that's going to be. I think Andor, once it's all said and done, probably will be the. I mean, I don't know, but it may be the best series that. Once it's all said and done, for up to now, because
by the way, Andor season 1, the first 3 episodes of Andor season 1 are free to watch on YouTube.
I saw that. I guess they're just trying to get it hyped because it starts like mid-April or April 22 or something, 20th.
I know this sounds crazy, but I think the reason why Andor is so good because Tony Gilroy knows absolutely nothing about Star Wars. He doesn't give a damn about what fandom service or fandom. In fact, like I know I said 1,000 times, and this pissed off a lot of fans that they were like, "Oh, you know, it'd be good for Star Wars, Natalie Portman." So, I think the fact that he wasn't a fan and just completely oblivious to everything and wasn't looking for fan service, was just looking to tell a good story. I think that's why it is so good.
And he's the same guy that was very involved with Rogue One, right? Same guy, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense if that guy did the film, and it's the guy that's doing the same series. I mean, it's like kind of like we talked about, like with the Penguin. He did really good with Batman, and then the Batman Penguin series is really good because it's the same guy that was the showrunner.
I think Andor season 2 looks. I'm hoping it lives up to it because it just looks so good.
Really, really good.
And I don't think it'll fizzle out, but part of me I'm a little bit like, is it going to fizzle out?
I don't know. I just think it was very kind of basic Rebel stuff in one, but I think we're going to get a lot more. I do think we'll see the Empire more. I think we're going to see more stormtroopers. Just things that anybody that has been a Star Wars fan from when it came out, 45 years ago, I think they're going to be like, yeah, I can get on board with this one.
I'm curious to see who's all going to show up at this wedding.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, it's her daughter and that kind of gangster guy's son, isn't that right?
Yeah, but he looks like. I mean, they're supposed to be 13. I mean, she's not 13, but that kid's definitely 13. I'm like, is she marrying him or adopting him? But I wouldn't mind seeing Palpatine not for fan service. I think they might. But I don't want to see Darth Sidious. I want to see Emperor Palpatine, the politician. Yeah. That would be interesting.
And that would make sense toward maybe the second or last arc, because I mean he knows that the the rebels are really becoming a problem.
I mean, I don't mind quote unquote fan service as long as it fits the story. If you're throwing it in there just to throw it in there, then that's silly. But if there's a reason for it for the story, then I say go for it. Don't avoid it just because you don't want to do too much fan service. It's kind of like Luke Skywalker at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. It's like, well, of course that's who showed up. Who else was going to show up?
Yeah.
It wasn't anyone else.
Yeah, it was awesome, but it was also made sense in the story.
Right.
Jayla made me think of, that Plagueis animated thing that I was telling you about. One of the characters in it, and he's kind of an off and on throughout, particularly the second one, is those weird purple guys that help Sidious and everything.
Yeah.
Like way later, he's in helping Sidious.
Oh yeah.
Then Palpatine's like 30 years old, still training under Plagueis, and that guy helps him do some of the behind the scenes stuff that gets the thing in motion for him to get into the Senate. And then, of course, we find out what happens. And that guy is a part of his inner circle already that early. And because I read he was wearing that same weird outfit and everything that they always wear. So that was pretty cool. I mean, that would be awesome to see that, and show a high budget, But I was like, dang, that is that guy. I thought those people were way after that. He's way before he was even a senator. I helped him. That guy set it up to kill the senator. So Palpatine, because Palpatine was his assistant, and he set up the hit. So then that's the first that got Palpatine into the Senate with Naboo to start it, that was pretty cool.
Really? Oh, is it Masameda? So Daisy Ridley was at South by Southwest, and this is from the direct. The direct says that she said, "I believe that she, as in Kathleen Kennedy, is very involved." I think there was reporting that was not true. So yeah, very involved. Kathleen Kennedy, very involved in the Rey movie. She's not leaving.
No,
she's not leaving. She's not leaving.
I believe she's not leaving. I mean, maybe I don't know how involved compared to what she was. That I'd be very surprised if she's near as involved as she was in the sequels. I'm not buying that. Maybe a little bit, but I'm not saying she's not involved. But I doubt the creativity part that she's that much involved. But who knows? I guess we'll see.
Heidi, is Kathleen Kennedy going to be playing Rey?
Yes.
That's how involved she is. She's playing the character.
Going to be Rey.
What do you think of that quote?
What quote?
About Kathleen Kennedy being very involved. Very.
Oh, I think about Rey's mother. I mean, I don't know what to believe anymore. And let's say between Batgirl, you always say you won't believe it till there's a trailer. Well, there's a trailer for Popeye. There was a trailer for Batgirl, and there was a trailer for Acme. So not even that. I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know how much of it is Kathleen Kennedy's issues, how much of it is corporate issues. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on at all. I think it's her last ditch effort. If it doesn't come to fruition, I think she's out.
That's when our buddy will finally say she's gone, I guess.
I mean, I actually defended her a lot, but there was this one decision she made that she insisted on that I didn't care for, but I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
Batgirl, even we can't even go by that there's a movie made, because there was a movie made. It was literally done, like everything, like it's ready to be released. And now we're not going to do it. So we can't even trust it if they've made a whole movie. And with Star Wars, I have a lot of faith that this Grogu one's going to happen. And who's the director for that one? The Mando one?
I don't know.
Oh, it's Filoni and Favreau. Yeah, so it'll definitely happen. It'll definitely happen.
Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, what's interesting about that, and maybe Disney, she left. Disney left, but apparently the new the Hondo ride, Smuggler's Run ride. They're reshooting it. Some of the scenes to include scenes from the Mando and Grogu movie, and
Oh.
there's scenes of Bespin,
Oh.
Cloud City, and the Millennium, and other things. So people are wondering if Lando or even some form of Han Solo is going to be in it.
Oh, so you're saying that the new ride includes going to have Mando and Grogu?
Yeah.
In the Falcon?
No, the you watch like a movie while you're
Right.
going through ride, and they're including scenes with the Mando and Grogu.
Oh.
Probably, I guess he's getting a new Razor Crest.
So it implies that the
But I
Falcon
think
is going to be in this movie. That very much seems like that makes it feel like that it's going to be, because I don't think they would do that.
It is the Falcon. I don't know if you've ever been there. The Rise of Resistance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know the ride.
Right. But so you're flying. But you're flying through like Bespin and Cloud City, so it would be interesting to see. Right.
Desi heard us talk about Disney, and she's like, "My ears are burning." She logged back on.
No, I'm just saying that I don't know if she heard anything else about it, but I guess they're including Cloud City, Bespin and Cloud City. So I don't know if she knew anything about that. That's what I heard. I think a video.
Well, that'd be cool. That would be really cool if we saw it in that, because
I'm never going to Florida again, so where we've been banned, or we're not allowed to.
Oh no, we'll get over it all. It'll all work out.
I've never been to Disney since that stuff. My daughter went, and she was like, "God, Dad, you would just love this stuff." I'm like, "Yeah."
I went when they had the models of it. They're like, "This is what we're building," models.
Yeah.
And they had Aaron and I were at Hollywood Studios, and it was early in the morning, and all of a sudden Star Wars music starts playing, and they had a stormtroopers marching down, and it was Captain Phasma and the stormtroopers. That was cool. But yeah, I haven't been there since Galaxy's Edge has been in. I live vicariously through Desi, Heidi, and Brock's gone a few times. He brought my daughter back a stuffed Jar Jar Binks from there.
Oh, why did he do that?
Because Jar Jar is the greatest character of all time. Let's go over to Ron in the chat. Ron saying, "What happens if the Rey movie crashes and burns?"
Then Disney is going to fall into the ocean. No, I don't know.
Let's go in the ocean.
Yeah. I think the good thing about it is their movie that they're making the most recent, which I said back in 2020, why not do a Grogu and Mando film? Mm-hmm. I didn't think it'd be 6 years later and be the first one since, but I thought that made sense. And I think that one will do good. I mean, it's been a long time since Mando, but I would think that one will do well. But when's the Rey one supposed to? I mean, when is that one projected? Is that like 2030 or something? Or I mean, what's the next one after Mando?
They don't have one. Oh no, it's the Sean Levy. I think it's Sean Levy. It's Sean Levy. There's Grogu right there. No. We have a special guest. Grogu is here.
There he is. So tell us.
Hey, Grogu.
Well, I'm saying you could stick Grogu on a screen like this for 2.5 hours.
People would go pay $20 for it.
Desi thinks that they'll cancel the movie before putting out a subpar movie again. I think that's why it's taking so long. Is the scripts have been probably like mediocre. I think it's going to happen, but it's going to be a different direction than there's there now.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious if we're going to hear anything about this Sean Levy movie at Celebration. Is it are they going to announce officially Ryan Gosling? Is Rey going to be a part of that movie? Like, what is going on there? Really curious about that. I think if it crashes and burns, I think Desi's right. I think they're gonna read the tea leaves on that before they release it. I think they won't do it until the script's perfect. I don't know who's greenlighting the script to say it's perfect though. But if the Rey movie crashes and burns, I think we're gonna get a big Star Wars hiatus, or depending on how Mando and Grogu does, we're gonna get just a boatload of them for a while. But I think, look, the Mando and Grogu movie, they've set it up perfectly to succeed. It's only going to cost. It's a cheap movie to make, relatively cheap, for Star Wars. So that means it doesn't have to do $1 billion. It just it has to do enough. So I think they've set it up perfectly to be a success. And again, like, I know some people are saying they're sick of Grogu, but I don't buy that. People always say they're sick of everything, and then, but I think Grogu's got people by the by the Tauntauns, and I think people will go see it. People love it. People like The Mandalorian. They like Din Djarin. They're interested. I know season 3 rubbed people the wrong way, but I think if season 3 was a movie, I think it would have been received a lot differently as well. How do you know how I feel about that? And you feel the same way, I think.
Yeah.
So I just think, I can't get sick of Grogu. I'm with you too. Grogu's the best. I'm all in like Grogu.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, that would be a. I think, isn't it? It's a holiday. Is it a December release?
May.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. We'll do that.
I don't like. I like Star Wars in May, but I think Star Wars made
think
a
for
home in
Grogu,
December perfectly.
Grogu might have been the one for a holiday because I mean everybody knows Baby Yoda. I mean, Grandma might even go watch Baby Yoda.
Exactly.
Just, you know what I mean? I don't know. Well, that's I don't know, but I do think that'll do pretty good. And then I do believe the Filoni. I mean the.
That's amazing. Sorry.
What is it?
So that's a. Oh
my
God.
I think it's a pillowcase. I'm not.
Oh.
That is incredible. How can anyone get sick of that?
No.
Oh man.
It's like a fairy, but it's got a winter hat on, so I don't know.
It's so good.
I think the other one that Dave's doing the Thrawn that they all come together. I think that one happened, but the other two, I don't know. I mean, other than those two, I don't know. I do believe those two for sure will happen, but all the others, I mean, geez, I mean, who knows? Because I mean, Feige got canceled, the Wonder Woman lady got canceled, wasn't there one that was going to be the beginning of the Jedi or something? What happened to that one? Is that the Mangold guy?
Apparently, he was too busy with the Bob Dylan movie that he made to work on the Star Wars movie. I think what happened was Indiana Jones bombed and cost a ton of money, and now they have cold feet on him because it also doesn't sound like he's going to be working much on the Swamp Thing movie for DC. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Desi, yesterday they were more interested in going on Star Tours than Millennium Falcon because Grogu is in it, even though Smuggler's Run is definitely a better ride. Grogu wins. Grogu, man. The minute they printed gold, and
yeah, and I'm really shocked they didn't make a movie sooner because of how hot they now. But I'm sure they'll do fine.
I think COVID didn't help the movie stuff, but also they just for some reason are afraid to bring Star Wars movies in the theater. Even there was an article, and it was Kathleen Kennedy said our focus shifted to streaming. Why? Like,
because they have cold feet with movies.
Yeah, but
because the only movie, but they haven't. The thing about it is they've not had a Star Wars other than the Solo, which there was just so much going against it. And if they released it, and I just still say if they released in December, it would have done a lot better. Yeah. But other than that, they've all done well. But since COVID, the only one that's done good, I mean, Spider-Man, and then Avatar, and then I mean, I guess Guardians of the Galaxy 3 did pretty good. But that's it. I think I can't think of any others that they've had. They've done that great. There've been some good movies, but just financially, not done that great for Disney.
Solo should have been the miniseries, and Obi-Wan should have been the movie.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, they didn't have Disney Plus for Solo. Yeah. But also Solo, the thing is, Lawrence Kasdan wanted to do the Solo script when George Lucas hired him. So, I mean, it just is a weird thing. But I agree with you. I think they should have flipped though. They were going to do an Obi-Wan movie, and then they got cold feet because of Solo. And the thing is, and I said this too, is they released Solo in May and Mary Poppins in December, and they should have flipped those two movies.
They both didn't do good.
They did terrible. They should have flipped them. I think they both would have done a little bit better at least. Yeah, because Solo right after The Last Jedi was just, first of all, they should have had a trailer in front of The Last Jedi. They should have surprised us all in the theater with here. But they're like, well, no, we won't tell you when you're in Star Wars, excited for Star Wars, that there's another Star Wars coming. Yeah, we'll tell you at the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like they just should have had that in front of The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi should have started with a trailer for Solo.
Yeah, just a little
or
quick
something
teaser.
for Solo. A sizzle. Rogue One did a sizzle reel the summer before. They should have done something like that. Just like, check this out. This is what's coming. Check it out. We know you heard bad things about it, but look how good it looks. Look at it. And instead, they didn't. They were, I don't know. They whatever you think of the movies and stuff, is their marketing has been so bizarre for me.
But
Like,
this month Disney will have a big comeback. They're going to save everything with Snow White. I'm just kidding. That's probably going to probably bomb terribly.
You know what? All the things that the actress has said aside, the live action movies suck.
Yeah.
But all of them have done well. They've all done pretty
well.
well.
They do. It's why I haven't seen, to be fair, I haven't seen Lion King live action because it's just a cartoon. I haven't seen live action that or Mufasa. I haven't seen those. Aladdin was okay.
Aladdin's pretty good. Pretty good.
I hate what one did I Beauty and the Beast, they added stuff. I'm like, stop it. Just stop it.
Beauty and the Beast, is that the one that had the Harry Potter girl in it?
Yeah. It was okay, but it just, I was like, you're adding stuff that doesn't need to be added. Just show me just play the cartoon. Yeah, I guess they haven't sucked, the ones that I've seen, but
I've never seen anybody like that Snow White actress though go from, she literally had nothing and until she got the lead in West Side Story. Like, she didn't have any other, she never did one thing like commercials or a TV show, anything. That was her first thing, and she got the lead in West Side Story, and she's had like 4 or 5 leads. She's only been around for like 5 years.
She just has to keep her mouth shut.
I just have never seen anybody like that before do the.
Yeah,
because she is a really good singer. I mean, she's very, very talented.
Welcome to 2020 is where YouTube, TikTok, and that's what makes stars now.
Well, she didn't even do a lot of that. I mean, she just.
I have no idea.
No, seriously. I just researched her, and if you look at her, she graduated high school, and then like 2 years later, there's nothing in between there. And she's
the only person similar to her the only person similar was an open casting call for The Godfather, and Abe Vigoda.
Ish.
I
know.
Desi, they were also more interested in seeing Chewbacca and Darth Vader than any other ride. Whoa!
Oh.
My daughter says Chewbacca now. She goes, Chewbacca!
Chewbacca!
I guess Luke's not going to be at Galaxy's Edge.
Who?
Luke.
Yeah, they're going to change it. They're like going to make part of it, all the series, which that's what I'll need to wait till that's all done. Then I'll go. That'll be.
So people are complaining because they're like, well, it takes place during the sequel trilogy. I'm like, yeah, but Mando's there. You're not complaining.
I got to be honest. Now, I haven't been there. Heidi, you have. Desi in the chat, you have. And Sooner, you haven't either. But for me, I always thought it was weird that they're like, it's only going to be in this one time period. Yeah. And I know they want you to feel like you're a part of it, but also, I don't really, you can mix them up for me. Yeah. Like, I'm not a stickler for, like, if I show up and Luke's there, I'm not going to question anything. Like, Mando and Grogu, I'm like, that makes sense to me because they're popular, right? Like, that's how I am. I'm more like, I'm not really, like, sticking to it. Like, same with the canon, a lot of the canon stuff. Although I will say, Ki-Adi-Mundi's birthday pisses me off.
So stupid. That one was kind of stupid.
Okay.
The guy was in it for, like, 20 seconds, and it became a talking thing for a week.
Yeah.
Well,
it's only at Disneyland. And Disneyland, from what I know, is the lesser version of Disney World.
Oh yeah. It's a lot. It's the original. It's much smaller than Disney World.
It's terrible.
I don't know if it's terrible, but it's much smaller. So they're not doing that at Galaxy's Edge at Disney World?
No, Florida doesn't get it. Luke is out of Florida. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Galaxy's Edge started Disneyland before it started Disney World. So
yeah,
but it's the same thing. It's just the whatever that. What is the name of the planet that they're on?
Batu.
Yeah, Batu. Yeah, it's the same thing at both parks. But I thought they were doing both change at both parks too.
Desi's saying that Disneyland is not as good as Walt Disney World, kind of like
no way. It's not as
kind of like how the Tampa Bay Lightning are not as good as the Toronto Maple Leafs.
When's the last time the Maple Leafs won a playoff series?
Don't even talk to me. Get out of here, Mr. Dallas. Oh, wow. And Disney World is not as good as Tokyo.
I don't know anything about Tokyo.
How dare you? How dare I? We'll see you in the
What about
playoffs.
Singapore?
Is that where? That's where. Is it in Tokyo? Is that where the Disney celebration is? Tokyo.
I think so.
I don't know exactly. I don't think it's at the park. I don't know.
Should be at the park. They should just do it at the park. No, they shouldn't. That would be way too expensive. It's already super expensive.
Yeah.
That would be insane. I'm looking forward to Celebration. Can't wait to see what they say there. But let's wrap this up. This was a fun show, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having
me. Thank you for having me.
Definitely.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm not. Star Celebration is in Tokyo's. And Ron, once again, Galaxy's Edge was Disney thinking people would care about the sequels. It was supposed to be the original trilogy, and then Bob Iger saw the dailies from The Force Awakens, and he made it the sequels. And we can't forget, though, there was that 2-year gap, like between 2015 and The Last Jedi, when every single person on planet Earth loved the sequels.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
The Force Awakens made $2 billion. So yeah. I think hindsight's one thing, but I think Bob Iger made the right call there because it made $2 billion.
Yeah, and the Star Wars and Disney is just waiting for the next Avatar because every one of those make $3 billion,
which is weird to me. All right, Sooner.
Hello, lost you.
Plugging my mic one microphone at a time. Sooner, where can everybody find you at?
Oh, just Soonerthron on Instagram and on Twitter or X. Soonerthron at Soonerthron.
Heidi?
Well, I'm on X under Heidi Fetter and writing my pen name for my stories, and I'm on Facebook. You can also find me at Amazon.com under Heidi Fetter. My real name is one story, and I have 3 stories under my pen name of Ann Drayton. So, yeah, please be 18.
Check those out on Amazon.com. They used to have Jedi Training Academy at Hollywood Studios, and kids could fight Maul, Vader, and Kylo at the same time, and nobody cared. What is that? Is that a samurai sword?
No, cool. It's a Navy sword.
Oh,
it's a Navy sword. Whoa, that's wild.
So does Desi live in Orlando or California?
She lives on the West Coast.
She's a big Florida Panthers fan. Hates the Lightning.
So she's in Florida.
Yeah, but I think she's somewhere on the West Coast. I'm not sure, but yeah, my uncle is also my godfather. He took his grandson and he fought Vader, and
that's awesome.
Like in Disney World years ago.
They used to have this thing called, and COVID destroyed it. It was called the Void, and they had one in Dallas, and I think they had one in Orlando, where it was like you were in like a 20-minute movie. You were like the star in the movie. You would go in, you have your packs on, and it was that virtual reality. But you would walk through stages, and they had one that took place with the Andor robot, and it takes place like during the time it takes place before Rogue One. So I guess maybe it takes place during Andor. I don't know, but it is amazing. And then they had one for that. They had a Marvel one. They had a Ghostbusters one. I mean, when you would shoot for Ghostbusters, the marshmallow where you zapping marshmallows, you would smell like marshmallows.
No.
Oh, it was amazing. It was awesome. Called the Void. And
Desi loved the Void.
Yes, it's so cool.
It was amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's like the coolest thing I've ever seen for VR. I've never seen anything better.
Really?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, we did the Marvel one, Star Wars, Ghostbusters, and then we did. I think that's it. But they had some others too.
Cool. have to check
Well,
that
the
out.
first time I ever heard of the volume, it was like it's a special room at St. Jude's Children's Hospital, so kids can experience being outside. That's what originally used the what was that? The volume.
Oh, the volume thing like they use for
Right, but that's where it started out, was in like St. Jude's Children's Hospital, so kids can experience being
Oh,
outside.
so it wasn't just green screens. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so that's
really
where the concept like was first used, and then I guess film studios started using it. But yeah, I think St. Jude's was one of the first places to use it, but it wasn't for movies. It was just so kids could be like outdoors watching horses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I
the
mean,
whole
the thing about different about the void is, I mean, it was like they were actually levels you walked up and walked down, and it would walk you through, and then in the Marvel one, I mean, you have two people and you're fighting all these on this spaceship thing, and it feels like you actually go apart from each other. I don't think we did, but man, it made your brain think like you did. Because you'd sit on this thing. I mean, it was not just a helmet and a pack. You walked around. It was amazing.
so like a holodeck.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a 20-minute movie. You were like in a 20-minute movie, basically.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna Google that and check it out. I vaguely remember it, but
unfortunately, I think they all shut down. I think they
Desi's saying COVID killed it forever. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your time today. It's been a blast. We're gonna have to keep doing this, guys. We're gonna have to keep doing it. I'm trying to take the graphic out. All right. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And we'll see you. Brock and I are back here on Wednesday night at 9. And we'll be doing this again next week. So stay tuned. Next Monday is St. Patrick's Day. So maybe we should all be hammered when we do it. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Have your green beer.
Yeah, like and subscribe. May the force of others be with you.
Bags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.